Three, two, one. What's good, people? Welcome back to London Boy Podcast. It's your boy Vinny, and I'm back again with another episode. Today, I've got a very special guest with me, and all the way from Brooklyn, New York City,
Brooklyn.
Roy in the building. How's it going, Roy, man? You alright?
Yeah, it's going, man. It's going. I'm waiting for society to get back to normal, but when I think about what society used to be when it was normal, it was a shooting every day. So I'm kind of like, let's not go back to normal.
Yeah, me and you both, man.
Let's stay like this forever.
Yeah. Do you want to tell the viewers how we know each other?
Yeah, man. You guys were what year was this? Was 2019? COVID throws. COVID messed up my perception of time, bro.
Yeah, so back in 2019, man.
Yeah, you guys were over here, and you guys were staying at a friend of mine's. They were renting the place from your aunt, right? Your uncle?
Cousin. Yeah.
And that's when I came over. Was it 4th of July?
Yeah, 4th of July. We had like a barbecue.
Yeah. You know, that day I was just supposed to just pop in and pop out. And Brett, of course, convinced me.
So you ended up just chilling, man.
Ended up chilling, man. And we had a good time,
We did.
Had some drinks. We did some medical stuff. All approved by doctors.
Yeah, literally doctor's approval.
medical marijuana approved by doctors, and it was a fun time, man. It was cool meeting you guys.
Yeah.
And for me, I like meeting people who are not me. I like perspectives and stories from people who are not me.
Yeah, same here, man. And funny enough, like when we were up in the apartment, right, you sort of educated me about the 4th of July. We sort of had a mini podcast.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. I've never been to England, period. So it's always good to have I got buddies who live over there, and we talk. One of my boys, he lived up in Newcastle, and he had came here like 2016, and ever since he's been coming here every year to visit.
Wow.
And last year was the only year he couldn't come because of the lockdown.
The lockdown, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a very different lifestyle, man. The two countries.
It is, man. It is. And you mentioned earlier you've been tuning into some of the episodes I've done recently.
Yeah, definitely, bro.
So you mentioned what have you seen so far in terms of the episodes?
Like I said, the one overall. I think you guys are on to something cool because you find yourself sitting there and listening to you guys, and like I said, it's a different perspective. I don't know if people probably who already live in London listen to you guys and be like, "Fuck, I've heard this.
Yeah,
I know what they're talking about." But for me specifically, hearing a lot of the stuff coming from you guys, it's like all foreign, all new.
Yeah,
and I like to soak up new information. And when you even told me that you did the episode about visiting New York, I wanted to hear that specifically because I wanted to see what your reaction is and how you felt. Because, New York is known to be a city of rude people.
Really?
It's known, we're known in America to be the aggressive city. You could be walking to work and you see somebody with a broken leg and you just look at them and be like, I gotta get to work, buddy.
Man, I thought London was like that,
That's why we're probably sister cities, man.
Yeah, I guess so.
Just moving. You just keep moving, But
so like your type of reaction on that segment, was it the typical tourist thing you'd hear about New York, or was it a different? Like, was it new to you,
In terms of your experience?
Yeah, in terms of hearing the experience, yeah.
Well, it was good to hear it from your perspective, and it actually made me appreciate the city more.
Yeah.
Because when I hear you guys start talking about Cody Island and all these different places, I take for granted, like I just told you earlier, before we recorded, man, you don't realize like you're living in a city where basically everyone wants to be.
Everyone wants to be there. Yeah.
Because every time I leave New York, whether it be I go LA, Florida, any of these places, like if you say they ask you where you're from, you say New York, it's like a status symbol.
It is.
Everyone kind of wants to like know more. And if you say Brooklyn, it's even more interest, and I take for granted how many people really want to be in this city. And but so hearing your experience was just something different. I'm jaded to the city already, man. Like,
definitely,
I walk by the Empire State Building. I'm not lying. I'm not making this up. I'd walk by the Empire State Building and see tourists with cameras and be like, "God damn tourists!"
Yeah, Mate, that's exactly how I feel when I go to London and I see tourists. I'm like, oh man, you guys. I mean, bloody tourists.
You guys lining up for the Ferris wheel? Yeah. What are you doing?
Now, what are you doing? Yeah.
It's the same thing with never been to Bali, but I know motherfuckers gonna want to put you on that swing.
Yeah.
Woo!
All right, guys. So, our topic for this episode today, like you came up with it you messaged me. You said you wanted to do something about USA versus UK.
Yeah, man. I think it's interesting. I feel for a long time USA and England, like we knew each other existed.
Yeah.
But we never got in depth with each other, and I think like the internet. It has definitely changed that.
It has.
We didn't really know much about England. The internet has definitely changed that for us. I'm not sure you're aware of that Arsenal Fan TV.
Arsenal Fan TV, yeah.
Yeah, like for a lot of negative stuff they get, you really get to see the passion people have for like. Football over there.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot of Americans, claim they have passion, but it's not the same passion, man. Like, so you get to see something like that through the internet, and then what I like is that we're kind of seeing like we're not so different.
No, we're not.
You guys have got your like in terms of music. I didn't even know London had a drill scene.
Yeah, well, you've been keeping up with the drill scene in the UK?
Man, I used to listen to I used to listen to grime back in college.
Yeah.
I used to talk to this girl who used to live in the UK, and she put me on this Lord of the Mics.
Lord of the Mics, yeah. That's like the original grime sort of thing,
I used to start watching these guys, Wiley and all these guys.
Yeah.
I used to be I was ahead of a lot of my American friends in terms of music because I would be telling them about grime, Skepta. Nobody knew about Skepta over here.
Skepta's an OG.
Nobody knew about him. Nobody knew anything about it. But it's like now with the internet, I'm seeing like we're all mashing up. And one thing too, I realize a lot of people in England now are starting to use American slangs.
Yeah, to be honest, America's slang, we've been using it for quite a while. But ever since this sort of rap scene, grime, drill scene has increased, it's matched with our slang as well,
Definitely. I heard, I was watching Arsenal Fan TV and Troops, and he just started every second saying son, and I know that's a New York thing.
Yeah, it is. I heard that in New York before I heard it in the UK.
Yeah, and I'm like, son, and it sounds weird not hearing it from a New Yorker. But yeah, man, I feel like the internet is bridging like UK and America, and even though you get the memes and stuff, like taking jabs at each other.
Yeah.
I think like the internet has definitely been bringing us together, man.
Definitely, man. And just the internet.
Still a lot of cultural difference.
The internet makes the world smaller, doesn't it?
Definitely, man. Definitely. I mean, look at the Black Lives Matter protests. It kicked off over here. And next thing in England, people are throwing statues into waters and shit.
Yeah, man, it's all crazy, man. It's all crazy. And I've always wanted to ask this question, yeah. Before you like discovered more about the UK, did you think that the UK was all like tea and crumpets and Buckingham Palace? You know?
Nah, you see the thing about it was you see when I lived in Guyana, we had the thing about Guyana is like we used to be a British colony, of
British
course.
colony, yeah.
So getting like a visa to go there was easy. So you know, most people in Guyana, once we decide to leave the country, we either go Canada, America, or England. Yeah. And I had a couple of friends who went England. You know, we used to keep in contact, you know, back in the day. And I'm talking, this was like when we had like MySpace and Hi-Fi,
yeah.
You know? So like I kind of understood England wasn't what, you know, the media and the world made it out to be. Like, you know, my friends would tell me about like, you think the accent is funny? There's a place down here called Brixton where you might get hit in the face. And I'm like, these boys ain't all cookies and crumpets. You know, it's serious. And so for a long time, I knew of England. I knew of the gritty side of it. Because, you know, being in contact with my friends, we'd be on MSN Messenger talking to each other.
Days,
yeah, you know, and they would tell me about it. So I think I'm one of those people who I kind of had an idea of what England really was before, you know, like today and all this other stuff. So I knew that, you know, it's got its good parts and its bad parts.
Yeah,
but it's interesting. It's interesting that the slangs was one of the first thing that caught me.
Yeah.
So hearing British slangs.
You know any British slang words then?
Yeah. What slang word that I remember? Yeah. I realized most of them cross over with Jamaican slang.
Caribbean. There's a lot of Caribbean influence over here.
Yeah. You know, like twat. I didn't know what the fuck a twat was.
Twat, yeah.
Dude, it's like, you know what a twat is? I'm like, shit, Google. Is that a pregnant goldfish?
Nah.
He's like, no, not.
Yeah, you know, like the usual, like bruv and fam and all that kind of stuff. Like.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's the one thing in New York that we probably have in common. We say fam a lot over there.
Yeah.
You
know? I can't remember when I started saying fam. I was probably 10, 12, since I could sort of talk properly, you know?
Yeah. But the slangs, man. But back to the question is like overall before, you know, I kind of had a understanding of what England would be or what it's like, you know?
Yeah.
And of course I watch a lot of football. So I kept up with that aspect. And, you know, I didn't realize this, but English football culture, it kind of reflects society.
In what way? What makes you say that?
You know, it's like you would watch football and like the way they talk about like Arsenal, highest season ticket holders. So of course you know more than likely you'll have the richer people going to the Arsenal games.
Yep.
I've heard stories of that team Millwall.
Millwall, yeah.
Where it's just like they pride themselves on beating the hell out of you.
Have you seen Green Street?
I started learning about football firms and stuff like that. So all that stuff started captivating me more on the English side because I just thought these guys were getting together to play football, but I didn't know, like, you know, you had firms of people who were like, yo, before the fight, we're gonna throw down.
Yeah, you're right. You know, like in society, there's segregation the same way there's segregation in football. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
You know what really surprised me when I went to New York? Obviously, you know that bar I mentioned in the New York segment about Bohemian Beer Garden?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the first nights I went there, this was before like the silent disco. There was a lot of like Mexicans and Latinas there, and they were watching like football. Like you guys call it soccer, but we call it football. and there was like the Americana Cup. And I was so shocked that you guys have such a fandom on, football, soccer. I thought you guys were all about like American football, baseball, hockey, But I was shocked, I was quite shocked.
Yeah, soccer, I think given another decade, it might it's mostly viewed by a lot of Hispanics.
Hispanics, yeah.
A lot of immigrants who, of course, follow the Mexican national team or any from Central America, Nicaragua, Costa Rica.
Yeah.
And within America itself, there's a lot of people that actually play the sport for a long time. The team has been very white. So people never really care,
Yeah.
And is it football, NFL, that's the money maker. And I realized in America, it's not about it's what sport can we make the most money off of.
Yeah.
That you see how the NBA starting to put sponsors on their jerseys the way football teams would have sponsors now.
Yeah, I've noticed that with different brands like Nike and car brands and that kind of stuff.
So they're definitely trying to figure out how we can monetize this game.
Yeah, man.
And the games are big because bro, like we would get preseason games over here, and it would be like Manchester United versus Man City pregame. They're just not playing the big names, third string players, and they'll sell out an arena.
Wow, that's crazy, man. It's good to know that we've got that our sort of Premier League has a lot of influence in different continents, man. That's really good to know.
Yeah, and it's only growing. It's getting. Also one thing too is like to go back to AFTV.
Yeah, Arsenal fan.
Right. One thing to go back about AFTV. Give me 1 second. Somebody just met. The thing about AFTV is like, even though a lot of people look at it as negative, I'll tell you 4 people who started following Arsenal because of AFTV.
Because of him, he's got a lot of reach. He's got a big reach. Huh?
So it's like, yeah, man, just this. But I feel like America's gonna get there one day.
Yeah,
America's
I guess so.
Gonna get there one day, and football sports in general tend to be something that unites people.
It does.
And it's something that you will see that will go beyond race, because even with the NFL over here, you might see a racist white guy celebrating with a black guy because they support the same team.
No, that's so true, because it's funny enough, like in England as well, man, there's a lot of segregation, like the inner city has got the working class, and let's say the suburbs have like middle class, upper class type people, and they'd be like, like racist type shit. But they'll be supporting a team like, like Tottenham Hotspur or Arsenal, which is pretty much multicultural,
Yeah. But once everybody's in the stadium, it's like we're all one.
We're all one, exactly.
Then we get outside, I might call you a slur.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But it's definitely interesting. But on the flip side too, I've been noticing the NFL has been sending a lot of games over to London.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they've done a couple games in London, and like people attend.
Yeah, man.
So I don't know if there's that population in England that maybe they're big into NFL football.
Yeah.
But
I just hope that it grows, because from what I see every day, it's just like football, like like soccer, and we've got cricket. We've got a big cricket fan base, and probably tennis. But I wish that we had like a basketball league or a baseball league. That would be great.
Yeah, man. I saw the basketball league. These guys are playing school gymnasiums.
Yeah, we play a lot of that in schools. That's true,
You know, but yeah, man, sports is definitely one thing that I feel like it moves. Sports move cultures, man.
It does, man. It does.
Definitely does. Like, for example, when you look back on it, I know maybe a lot of people who support Everton. Fulham had a different perspective of Americans after Clinton there.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes I would be over here, and so it's like one of the weirdest things I always tell people. I have this book where I tell people if you go somewhere, it's good to know soccer players.
It is,
because it will get you a conversation started. Like, boom.
It actually does. Like, it doesn't matter where you go in the world. That's
if
that
you
one
know
thing in common everyone has.
Yeah. You know a famous player from that country, you're more accepted. And for the most part, Americans are kind of like not liked around the world.
Yeah.
But if you go in there with something that they can relate to, they're gonna be like, "Huh, this guy ain't bad after all." Because I'll give you a perfect example. I was out at a bar drinking, and some Swedish people were drinking there, but they had like this cold shoulder, and I started asking them if they like Zlatan, and the fact they knew, the fact that I knew his name. They were just like so interested in having a whole conversation now.
Yeah, because in Europe there's a perception that for Americans are just stuck in their own sort of bubble. Because you know how America is such a big country, you think they've got enough going on there,
Yeah, well, that's the thing about America, man. We always say to ourselves, like, "Yo, we don't need nobody else."
Yeah.
America, I was just I just told my girl this joke because he's in union.
Yeah.
I feel like America don't want because there was supposed to be like a union between Mexico and Canada and America, but America didn't want it, and it always remind me of this Chris Rock joke where he said, talking about who want to raise kids alone. He's like, it could be done. But a bad idea. That's America's attitude towards a lot of things. We feel like we don't need this or that. We've got it here.
Of course. Well, in a way, that's a bit of like national segregation. Like we've got some national segregation as well, like between the UK and Ireland. You know how I don't know if you know about that. Northern Ireland is part of the UK, but Southern Ireland is its own sort of state, its own country.
Yeah.
And we've had the same thing as well, like, Brexit. You guys know much about Brexit?
Yeah.
So England thought, you know what, we're sovereign, we're high and mighty, we can do well without the EU. And the minute we left the EU, bloody Corona happened. And now everyone's pretty much struggling,
Yeah, those are the games politicians play, man. And they don't look at how that. But how do you feel about Brexit?
Oh man,
I want you to tell me I want you to tell me how you feel about Brexit on just an economic level, because at the end of the day, money runs everything.
It does. So
how do you feel about that?
So on an economic level, I think it was a pretty bad move, simply because the UK pretty much runs on it's a service-based country, A lot of the industry in the UK is sort of trades, like construction, plumbing, engineering, you name it. But a lot of the, we rely a lot on sort of like foreign produce. Like a lot of stuff, is a lot of fruits and stuff is made in Europe or shipped from Europe and that kind of stuff. And I feel like we're going to sort of suffer unless, the UK decides to increase their national produce. Then I think we're gonna suffer pretty much, And
I'm always under this. I don't know. I could be wrong. I was always under this idea that the UK imported a lot of stuff because that weather up there ain't good for growing anything.
Exactly. It's pretty much rains most of the time out here, you know. But to be
that's the one I like about it.
But to be real with you, man, like I feel like the whole Brexit thing, that the way they sold it was to counter immigration. Because like a lot of the country is sort of conservative. The majority voted on a conservative party, which is pretty much the equivalent of like Republican in the US.
Yeah.
And the way they sort of marketed this Brexit was like, yeah, the EU, there's a migrant crisis in, let's say, in Italy, in Europe. Oh, let's stop illegal immigrants coming in, blah, blah, blah. And basically the people that voted for it thought that magically the immigrants were going to disappear or some shit,
Well, that's the issue America is having, too, with a lot of immigrants coming up from the southern border.
Mm.
And, they're having this big debate about migrant kids.
Yeah.
And, like what people are slowly understanding is, why don't we go to these countries that these people are coming from and find out what the fuck is going on that they got to come here?
Yeah, work together, and help each other.
Yeah, let's maybe try to pump some money into their economy or see what, but then again, corruption.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those countries tend to be, corrupted.
Mm. Let's talk. I want to talk a bit about, like American politics. Now you guys got a new president, is it Joe Biden?
Yeah.
I want to hear your opinion on that.
Man, I was never a big fan of Joe Biden.
Yeah.
I felt like, it's the same as every election. You're voting for the lesser of two evils.
Lesser of two evils, exactly. Yeah.
And I feel we don't have a real democracy.
Mm.
And, and in my opinion, I feel it's all a sham. Because let's say, for example, let's get rid of Republicans and Democrats and have 10 parties.
Yeah.
I seen in play for example, I'm from Guyana.
Yeah.
Where we could have 5 parties. And then you know what happened? 2 parties jump in and merge.
Yeah, they become one superpower.
Hey, we're together, and now they're the ones that's running the show.
Exactly.
So I think it's like a setup. But Joe Biden, I never really trusted him because number one, he was the one that wrote the 94 crime bill and the 86 crack laws.
Wow. I heard about that. I heard something about that. Yeah.
Huh?
I said I heard something about that online.
Yeah. So basically, back when the crack epidemic started out, he wrote a law that basically gave people more jail time for crack versus cocaine because obviously poorer people were using crack.
Yeah.
And more wealthy people were using cocaine.
Mm.
So, there was a law specifically, and a lot of black and brown people got locked up for it. The prison times were very harsh.
Funny you mentioned that. I heard Lil Wayne talk about that in the Carter 3 in one of his songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very known, and there are a lot of conspiracy theories out there too, like that the government introduced crack.
You never know because the way I see it, man, there will never be a solution to stop crime because if you remove crime, then like lawyers are without a job, policemen are without a job. It's one big industry.
Yeah, it's like the thing I always tell people. Everybody loves to joke around and say prostitution is the world's oldest profession, and I'm like, nope. I'm like robbing somebody also is up there because a couple prostitutes probably got robbed. So it's like, it's like crime has always been around. Poverty and crime and all this stuff is always going to be around, man.
From the beginning of time,
Yeah, it's Bob Marley got that. There's a Bob Marley song that War No More Trouble. And he's got a line there talking about, world peace. And he said, He said it's an illusion.
Yeah.
I can't remember word for word, but he basically said that it's an illusion that us as a human race chase, but it will never be attained.
Yeah,
but we say to ourselves, we're going to get this. We always say, like, oh, the next generation is going to be different, and the next generation is going to be different. You got me again now?
Yeah, I got you again, man. You need to stop driving next to army bases, man.
Yeah. Man, I'm telling you, below New York City's a bunch of EMPs and shit.
Yeah,
I'm gonna create that conspiracy theory. But yeah, man, I feel Joe Biden is a more stable individual. You know, all politicians are full of shit.
Yeah.
But it's like, be professional.
Exactly.
You know? Like, be professional about it. And I'm just glad Trump is out, man, because it's like every minute he was just doing doing stuff that wasn't even convenient.
Yeah.
Or, you know, hey, let's build this wall. Why? People are just gonna scale it.
Yeah, man. I've heard a lot of mixed opinions about Trump. You know, like, there's a obviously conservative approach, which they say like, oh, yeah, they're all full of shit, but at least he's real. At least he says it as it is, you know.
Well, you see, that's the thing about it is that to be a politician, regardless of which side you're on, you know, Democrat or Republican, to be a politician, you've got to be a fake person.
Yeah, they're all fake, pretty much. You know.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we got this lady Nancy Pelosi, a Democrat. She had California shut down, but then she went to the hair salon to get her hair done. You know? Yeah. So I feel like they're all full of shit, but at least be professional with me. You know, you're already effing me over. You know? At least be gentle.
Be gentle about it, you know.
Yeah. You know, just don't come. And Trump was never gentle.
No,
you wake up at 7
you
wake up 7 o'clock in the morning and you hear a new law just got signed. Nobody flies allowed outside anymore. It's like, what? It's a little too much.
That's like over here, man. We've got Boris Johnson, man. He the gyms have been closed the last 3 months, man. Like bars and clubs have been closed for like 4 months now. You know, like just this week they've eased the restrictions, but if you were caught going outside 2-3 weeks ago, you'd get like a £200 fine if you was meeting people. You know.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that Boris. I like Boris Johnson, man. That guy reminds me of like a British Trump.
That's what a lot of people say.
This motherfucker, he's never heard of a comb.
Nah, he hasn't, man. He looks like a dog, man. That haircut.
But it's he didn't get elected, or
I don't think so. You know, I think the one we had before.
Somebody resigned and he got the job.
Yeah, so Theresa May, she basically, I think she sort of, she was trying to do the whole Brexit thing, but I think she basically just pussied out, just cowered away. And then Boris Johnson, he stepped up as if like he was the man for the job, you know?
Yeah.
And we've had him ever since, you know?
Oh, and then he got that flu.
Yep.
Fought that COVID.
Yeah, he fought that COVID, eh? So off about politicians, like let's talk more about culture, man. I don't know if you caught in the New York podcast, I said that American people are like more vibrant, more positive outlook. Would you say that's true? Would you say that's like a generalization? Because I was on holiday and whatnot, you know.
You know, the thing about American people is American people will tend to be it's hard. America is so diverse. I'll tell you guys. So me personally, in New York, people tend to be nice to you if they're not late for work. If they're not late for work, they'll be nice to you. They'll help you out. You don't know where you're going. Hey, I need the F train. They'll definitely help you out, you know?
Yeah.
But don't do it on a Monday morning when everyone's heading to work. You know? But when I go to places like California, everyone's laid back.
More laid back, you know?
Everyone's chill. Like you like the perfect example I can give it in California. If I'm stopped at a red light and the light changes to green, the car and I don't move, the car behind me would not honk their horn.
They won't.
They would literally stay there until the light turned red again.
Yeah, man. It must be that Cali, man.
You know?
Yeah, it must be that medical over there, you know?
No, well, the whole culture is laid back. They're chill. They're like it's like they're never in a rush to do anything. Whereas New Yorkers, we're always in a rush.
So you can call it like a hustle and bustle, you know?
Yeah, that's why you know and that's right, because New York we're the financial backbone of this country.
With Wall Street and stock market and whatnot. You know?
Exactly. So every literally in New York, time is literally money.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know, that saying applies to New York. Perfect. Time is money. So that's why we tend to always be on the move. And other people regard us as, you know, New Yorkers are rude.
Yeah.
You know, you go out west, those guys are more laid back. They're chilling. You go down south, it's kind of the same thing. You know, those guys are more laid back. They're chilling out, you know?
Yeah.
That's how it is, man. Culturally, I feel like everything, like but New York is a melting pot in itself culturally. I think there's more culture. There's more culture in New York City than there is in all of America.
That's another way it relates to London, because I'll tell you, one night when my cousin took me out in Queens, we went to, you know, Astoria. We went to a restaurant there, and that whole road in Astoria was all full of like Arabs and Egyptians, and for a second I thought I was in London.
Took you to Steinway. That was Steinway.
Right there. Yeah.
Nothing but hookah.
Yeah, it's full of hookah bars and everything.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, what the hell, man? This is just like London in terms of the culture, you know, the people's background.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Yep. You go through New York and you'll find a little something everywhere. A little Italy, a little India, a Chinatown, a little Albania. I was like, how are all these places fitting in this one city? But the city itself here is a very diverse melting pot, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes there's a lot of underlying racism too, but it doesn't really bubble to the top as much, you know.
Yeah, so because like my preconception of New York, I was expecting to see like, you know, for the most like probably Latin Americans, South Americans, and you know like certain like African Americans, of course, but I wasn't expecting to see the same type of people you see in London, like, you know, like people from Africa, people from, you know, Egypt, people from the Middle East, you know.
Definitely, man. Yeah, we've got everybody here, bro. Every time I go to like go get Dunkin' Donuts, I'm getting free hookups, motherfucker. They always look at me like, you from Bangladesh? I'm like, no. They always think I'm from Bangladesh, and they'll throw an extra donut in there, like, gotcha.
Yeah, you should just play along, you know.
I started getting free stuff, and people ask me, "Man, you from Yemen?" It's like I ain't never been Yemen in my life, bro.
Yeah.
But I feel it's more diverse. It's more diverse in New York. But the thing, like I said, is that you know, just culturally, everybody's got their own thing going on. So even though it's a diverse state, you find little different cultures spread out all over, you know.
That's like another way it relates to the UK, man. You know.
And we all work together, man. And it's like the thing about it, I know, like they say in the UK, like the Indian people get a lot of the end of the stick, you know.
Yeah, they get a lot of flack, you know.
Yeah, I realized that, but you know, living in New York, you know, you never really hear people use that kind of rhetoric in terms of like, we don't want you here, or you don't belong here. Like you'll hear that from other states down south who might have a small population of maybe Indian people, or a small population of, you know, it'll tell them like, man, we don't want you around here. But New York, you know, it's such a and that's why I feel New York is one of the main hubs for a lot of immigrants who, you know, migrate here or migrate here illegally because they know it's more welcoming to
More
them.
welcoming, exactly.
It's easier for them to find their. It's a mess, bro.
Mm.
This country's a mess, and then even with black people, you get variety because you have African, you know, descendants of slaves. You got Africans who migrated over from Africa.
Yeah.
And you got black people who migrated from the Caribbean.
Caribbean.
Those three groups don't really see eye to eye.
They don't?
No. You know, because I remember when I first moved here, my aunts and them would tell me, you know, like, hey, avoid the black kids at school because all they do is get into trouble and join gangs.
Yeah.
You know? And it just, everyone has a different perception. And that's why when people talk about black people mobilizing and stuff, it's hard because, you know, like I said, Africans don't see themselves as Caribbean blacks. Yeah. Caribbean blacks don't see themselves as African American blacks, you know?
But the thing is, like, sorry to cut you, man, but the thing is, like, if you go anywhere in the world, yeah, it doesn't matter what your background is, they're going to see you as the same, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's what I was about to say. In the eyes of the police, black is black.
Exactly.
They'll shoot you.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Then find out. But speaking of the police, man, I heard, I don't know if it's true. I never confirmed it. They said a police officer has never, ever been convicted in England for killing anyone, like a black person.
What, in the UK?
Yeah.
So, have you heard of the London riots back in 2011?
I remember that.
So, long story short, there was this guy called Mark Duggan, and I don't know how involved he was in the streets, but if you ask a lot of police officers, they say like he was like a top gang member. But the police officer, they obviously they shot him dead, and obviously that's what sparked the riots. And and it took quite some time to sort of like just bring that police officer to trial, and I think it ended up as a self-defense shooting.
Oh wow! So he got off.
He got off. So in the UK, police brutality is not as present, but when stuff does happen with the police, you don't really hear about it, you know.
They cover that up.
Yeah.
It always, as Americans, we're always baffled as to why UK police rarely carry guns.
Yeah.
You know, it's always baffling to us. That's one of the things I remember I would tell my boy, some of the cops in England don't have guns, and they're like, "What?
Yeah,
I would run away."
But that's the thing, though, man. Like, I feel like in England, man, they probably do need guns because like there's a lot of knife crime, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of knife crime.
I've definitely been hearing about that.
Yeah.
You know, and man, to stab someone, you gotta really hate someone. Stabbing is a passionate crime, man.
It is, man. It is.
You know? But hopefully they can figure that out. I mean, but like we said, man, crime, poverty, all that stuff. You know, because I doubt these kids are out here stabbing each other just for stabbing each other. What's the root of it? Was it poverty? Was it, what is it? You know, and
I'll tell you what, the thing in London is that, you know, every area you go in London, it's got like a different postcode.
Gotcha.
And so I think you guys call it, you guys don't call it postcode, do you? You call it zip code, I think.
Zip code, yeah.
Zip code, yeah. And I feel like each sort of postcode has like its own gang. Like
gotcha.
It's got its own sort of like projects, like we call it blocks. And so one postcode is beefing a different postcode, which they could even be across the street from each other. But it's nothing personal. It's literally like a beef or a feud that goes back 10 years, 20 years before the people's time.
Yeah.
But the kids that join these gangs, they just go along with it for some crazy reason, you know? it gets to the point where they don't know why they're sort of beefing each other, and it's a bit ridiculous to say the least, man.
Yeah, that's the same thing we see like back in the early 2000s. That used to be a thing here in New York where you know, like you represent your hood.
Yeah.
And it was more of like a pride kind of thing.
Yeah, it's all about pride and ego, you know.
Yeah, like, you know, I'm from so and so, you're not gonna disrespect so and so. And it got to a point where I remember someone said something and it hit me, and it said because a lot of streets and roads in New York, they're like named after slave masters.
Wow.
So a lot of people, so someone said, like, you guys, you know, over here shooting each other in the name of this street or this block named after a slave master.
That's messed up, man.
You know, but it's a cycle. It's a cycle that keeps continuing, man. And and you know, there've been studies that everybody's been. Emily, everything comes back to poverty and racism.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's like,
you know, and nobody. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned, like they're fighting over like streets that are owned by slave masters or in the name of slave masters. In the UK, like we have like this expression that they're sort of beefing over blocks that their mums don't even own, that they rent it off the government, you know.
Yeah, man. So it's like the same concept over here. But you know, also it's I feel like also a lot of trauma plays a role in that too, in terms of social trauma, especially within the Black community, where you got a lot of Black families who tend to be single parents, or Black families where the grandmother is raising a kid and he doesn't have a curfew.
Yeah.
Out doing what he's got to do, hanging out with who he's hanging out with, you know, and you get caught up in that life easy.
Yeah, man. It's in a way, man. It's like, you know, the expression like same shit, different toilet, man.
Listen, me and you are gonna be dead many years from now, and these problems are still gonna exist. Because I tell people, man, gangs weren't started 30, 40, 50, 100 years ago. Gangs have always been around. Crime has always been around.
Yeah, it goes back to, like, you know, tribalism. Like back in the caveman days, like people had their tribes, you know.
You conquer. You know, so it's like that's what. But for the most part, I mean, yeah, you know, we got a lot of crime here in New York, but it has drastically dropped. But then after the lockdown, it started going back up.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
And, you know, that's because a lot of people started losing jobs. A lot of people, you know, and you get desperate.
Yeah, it's just exactly the same thing in London. Since the lockdown, crime has like increased, you know.
Yeah, you're getting desperate. And I say, you know, these politicians sit back and play games, but I say, like, a lot of these politicians don't know what it's like to be down on your last $20.
That's the thing, man. Like, especially speaking from the perspective of the UK, man, the country is governed by people that they only see the perspective of the elite. They don't see the perspective of everyone as a whole, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of them don't even have that experience. Like I mean, don't get me wrong. Look at Joe Biden. I mean, like, bro, what college? Is the politics. I do have faith in Joe Biden, and that's because only because of Kamala Harris.
Yeah,
I feel like she's gonna be there to check him.
I got you. I've got a question about, you know, that Black lady who, I don't know if she's fully in politics, but she's married to someone from the UK.
Who?
I forgot her name, but she's very vocal about her political opinions. I think she was on a talk show with, like a conference with Kanye West. She's like got black lady, short hair.
I'm trying to think. Was it the lady from Georgia?
I think so. She's well known. She's well known.
Could be Stacey Abrams.
I don't know. It's one of those names that if you hear it, it rings a bell. You know.
I mean, I can't think of it right now. But one thing I like is that a lot of black activists have been emerging.
Yeah.
In America lately.
Yeah.
A lot more people are standing up, and I like that.
Sorry, man. Sorry. Candace Owens.
Candace Owens.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Candace Owens is interesting.
Yeah.
Because, you know, she's the kind of person that she'll tell you some bullshit, but within that bullshit, something's going to make sense.
I got you.
You know? And then your brain, like for example, like the InfoWars guy.
Yeah, Alex Jones.
Yeah,
Alex Jones.
Yeah. He was one of those type of people. Like he would say a bunch of bullshit, but within that, you would hear some truth. Like for example, he came out and he said. He came out and said that the frogs in Florida, the water is basically making them gay.
What the frogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, studies have been done, and it is confirmed that in Florida, some frogs they're actually changing genders.
Wow.
Yeah, they've been changing gender. And they don't know if it's estrogen or what in the water, but something's in the water. It's been causing frogs to change genders. And what happened is a lot of male frogs attempt to like hump other male frogs.
Yeah.
But you know, Alex Jones, he just got on and said, hey, the frogs are becoming gay. They're going to put this water in our water system. And their agenda is to make us all gay. And I mean, you hear that whole argument, and yeah, he does have something correct in there. But overall, you can't really prove that that's what they're gonna do to the water system. So like Candace Owens is one of those kind of people where they'll tell you something that's true, but the stuff they are spewing after, it's either you take it or you run with it and say, no, I don't think I believe this, because look at the frogs. They did do the study. It's got to be something to this, you know.
It's almost like
butter, you know.
So, like in a way, people like that, they sort of make money from like controversy and misinformation, you know.
Exactly. And I wouldn't really call it misinformation. It is a lot of misinformation with some truths to it. And when you hear the truth, sometimes, you know, the human brain will make you think, like, that's the thing. Somebody will hear her say something and say, well, she's got a point.
Yeah.
And ignore the 100 other BS she just said. And just going to stick to, like, got a point. Because, you know, a broken clock is right 2 times a day.
Yeah, true say.
But what about the other times? We just gonna ignore it when it was wrong?
Yeah, man.
She plays on.
It's a bit like saying, like, you know, like pollution or global warming. Yeah, like you talk about pollution, it's a real thing, but then it's like me saying, oh, pollution is a real thing, but that's because the government has, you know, planes going in the sky. That's that you know, like them chemtrails that are giving out chemtrails. Maybe pollution is a real thing, but it doesn't mean that they're deliberately doing some conspiracy to put it in place, you know?
Exactly.
So they sort of state the fact, but they put the conspiracy, but they back it up with a conspiracy to push some sort of agenda, you know?
Oh, definitely, man. That's how it always goes. Who's like a Candace Owens of the UK, man? Was that Piers Morgan?
All right, no. In the UK, all right. So we've got an Alex Jones and we've got a Candace Owen. The Candace Owen is probably, I'd say, Piers Morgan. Like, he says a lot of outlandish stuff. He loves the controversy.
Yeah. Who was that old white lady, man?
Which one? Which one?
I know you guys had an old white lady who would always spew some shit.
What, in the government or in the media?
Like in the media, like she got short hair. I forgot her, man. Out in England.
Yeah,
it's messing with my head.
Yeah, I forgot. I don't know. Maybe if I see her, I might know who she is, man. Are you sure it's not? Yeah. You sure it's not the old Prime Minister Theresa May?
No, man. Oh, no. There's this one lady, and I remember one time, the internet started memeing her because they found out her age.
Yeah.
They said she was like so old and all this, and then she said that they're bullying her.
Yeah.
But I can't remember her name, man. But she was like a Candace Owens. You throw out something crazy.
Oh, she's blonde, right? Blonde. Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. Yep. I've got the face, but I just need to get the name to the face now.
Yep.
I think I got it somewhere in my DM. I must have sent my friend a video about this lady. You just double check. Yeah, it's bugging me now. Here we go. Katie Hopkins.
Yeah.
Katie
I remember her.
Yeah.
She was like a Candace Owens.
Yeah, she is. She says that's a perfect parallel. She talks like controversial shit, anti-Semitic shit as well, you know. Very like conservative.
Mm-hmm. But you see the difference between her and Candace Owens is Candace Owens is black, so when Candace Owens says something, it's hard to push back because now it seems like you're going against a black person, you might be racist.
Yeah,
you know. So I think like Candace Owens has it down. To me, at the end of the day, do I feel Candace Owens believe half of the stuff she spewed? No, but
you don't think
what is she gonna do without this? It's like, what job is she to get, you know? And it's what you're willing to do to make money.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if you know about our sort of version of Alex Jones, but we've got someone called David Icke. Have you heard of him?
No.
So he started a big sort of backlash because he was like saying conspiracies about the pandemic.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen like interviews of like with a channel called London Real and stuff. He basically done this big thing and his channel got taken down and they had to do the interview privately. And this David Icke, he's been a conspiracy theory for a long time, a theorist. Like he used to say like you know, the royal family are reptiles. He used to say all sorts of crazy shit, man. And now when the pandemic hit, he basically started saying that, you know, that the COVID is fake. It's all made by the government. It's all like fear mongering, that kind of stuff. And like you said, they use like an inch of truth. And that inch of truth, they push a conspiracy behind it, you know?
That's how we usually go, man.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, we got to realize a lot of the masses are not that bright.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what the funny thing is? Like, he was so convinced that this whole COVID thing is a conspiracy and they're pushing some sort of agenda. Bill Gates is going to microchip us, you know. But the funny thing is, after his interviews went viral, guess what? He released a book. Surprise, surprise, eh?
Money talks.
Yeah, money does talk, eh?
That's it with politics, man. No, but it's like I always ask people, man. You know, everybody's got a price.
Yeah.
You know, and
Hey man, you've gone again, bro.
I remember I put this on my Instagram. Like, came up to you right now with 10,000. Let me know when I'm back.
Yeah, you're back now.
Yeah, I had put this on my Instagram, and I asked people, what if Trump came up to you with $10,000 cash and say vote for Trump? What would you do? Be honest with yourself.
The 10K.
I'll take the 10K, bro.
Yeah, any day, man. Because at the end of the day, man, like if people are gonna vote if Trump's gonna win, he's gonna win anyway. So what does my vote matter, man? I'll just vote, not believe in my vote, and just take the money, you know, because we all gotta eat, man.
What is your what is your views on voting over there in the UK? Are you like one of those, you never miss an election?
So me personally, I believe like everyone matters type shit, but personally to the grounded level, I'm the sort of person where like you got to make your own life and no politician should dictate you, like you're the star of your own movie. I'm that kind of person. So to me, all that political stuff is just an agenda. It's all bullshit. But but when it does, if I do have to vote, I always vote for the underdog. The people that are going to help the poverty, because at the end of the day, man, like what I'd rather help out the poor people than help get the rich people richer.
And that's the thing, man. It always seems like the politicians who want to do good never get the support.
They don't. That's sad.
They're always the guys that get the 10% vote. And, Yeah,
man.
But that's politics, man. It's big money in that.
There is.
And we're just pawns out here, man. You're right. You're going to have to make your own way.
You got to make your own way.
Figure your stuff out and do it. And I feel one thing that keep a lot of people back is the fear of starting new, because you might live in America and you're realizing like, man, a lot of these laws I'm not cool with them. But a lot of people have that fear to maybe pack up and say, let me go live in another country then.
Yeah.
A lot of people are afraid to do that.
It is, man. But the way I see it, I'm third generation Italian in England, and my grandfather, he came from Sicily. He started afresh from rock bottom, and he made it.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they could make it back in the day when racism was more in your face, I reckon like it's easier. You can do it now. Yeah, there's inflation. Yeah, there's more competition, but still, we have so much opportunity out here. It's incredible.
Man, there's always that opportunity. It's always that fear, man. And I feel like our generation kind of grew up comfortable.
Yeah, 100.
Like we grew up very comfortable. We've never really had anything to. I don't think this generation has had fear strike in them. And
no, man.
I was just talking to somebody about that the other day. It was like America behaved the way it does because America has never had a war on American soil.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of European countries in the EU are more progressive because these guys went through World War I and II.
Yeah, so they're like more frontline.
And we're not talking about like these guys are battling in some field or some jungle. Like London was literally getting bombed.
Getting bombed by the Germans, yeah.
Berlin was literally getting bombed. Like the psychological effect of watching your capital city go under siege.
Yeah.
It's different. And I feel America, the closest thing America has ever had to that was those white people trying to hold the capital.
Yeah.
And I feel like America has never experienced that trauma of understanding of like rebuilding from nothing.
But you say that, but obviously you've been in New York. What do you think about September 11th? Did that obviously shook up the nation?
That did shake up the nation, but you got to know like that was like a one-time kind of thing. And I feel like even though it still traumatizes a lot of people and a lot of people are still shocked by it, it's a difference from a terrorist attack versus literally every day you hearing bombs go off.
Yeah, I guess so, man.
Or, they would say, I remember when I studied, they had people in London sleeping in the tube.
In a tube station, yeah.
Yeah, so the German bombs won't hit them. They'll tell them turn your lights off, so you don't give the German pilots a target to aim at. And we've never had anything like that.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, you do have a point when you say that, but I feel like, yeah, you go to a lot of like, not necessarily in the city, but in like suburban and towns and villages in the UK, you get a lot of like, like English pride, like, yeah, we survived World War II, that sort of stuff. But I feel like that sort of generation of strong people, strong men, is sort of dying out with the older generation, and the new generation is more like, like Gen Z type of thing, where
yeah.
like they've always had computers and technology, and they've never actually done like the struggle or the hard grind, as you might say.
Well, one thing I say is like the internet has basically the internet. What we realize is that and realize like we don't need to have wars anymore. The wars are online.
Yeah, literally.
Because now we've got we've got hackers influencing elections. We've got hackers spreading propaganda. You got a guy somewhere maybe in Pakistan who is messaging a kid in Iowa like, hey, come over here, study, and then when you go back home, I need you to blow up 2 blocks. And that's the new war, man. I feel like that's the new war. And I feel like
hey, man, you've gone.
That motto. Oh, I'm back off again.
Yeah.
I'm coming right back up to the.
Where you at, man? JFK?
Nah, I'm coming down Flatbush Avenue, going back to that military base.
Back to the military base.
But yeah, bro, I do agree with you. Like a lot of people lack that bravery in them. They haven't seen it.
Definitely.
And you see a lot of old vets out there. These motherfuckers will choke you out.
Literally.
They're not for talking.
And I just feel like the closer